just think it'd
Chris
be.
Buescher, 10th.
How are you going to bet against Harvick right now? I mean, you just can't.
You can't even bet the house.
No.
No.
I got Jeff taking him against the field. You know that's a slam dunk.
Darrell Wallace, 11th.
But you know, maybe think about this: the Ford is the oldest car here, and they have refined and refined and refined. The Camaro, it's a new car. They're still working on aerodynamic balance on that car. And the Toyota, it's a year old now. They've got a year under their belt. But maybe just having that same car over and over and over again, and the rule changes were made in the off season, has given the Fords actually a bit of an advantage.
Well, if you look at the closing of the season in 2017, Kevin Harvick and that bunch, they were really starting to build the momentum to where it is today. They were very competitive. Even though they didn't win the championship, they were still very competitive at the end of the season.
When I saw him drive around Martin Truex,
exactly,
Texas,
that's the race that stands
that's
out
the one
to
that
me.
stood out in my mouth.
And oh, by the way, Texas is coming up in a couple weeks.
It will be.
It's going to be fun to see that battle play out again.
I always tell I like to. It's big boy racing down there.
Kyle Larson, past winner here at Auto Club Speedway.
And winner of the last 4 miles on 2-mile super speedways. 211 into the corner for Larson.
Now he went to the bottom.
Went
All
below the
4
bottom.
tires.
He's almost in the grass.
That's
short.
Right at the bottom of 3 and 4. Look good.
They like it.
Second.
Whoa,
5/100ths
right
off
there, baby,
of
right
Harvick.
there.
Hey, guys, we're down to almost 5 minutes. I keep watching Joey Logano in that 22 car. If we don't have more than 24 cars that make an attempt, which you do have to post a time in round 1, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to run the world's slowest lap ever at Auto Club Speedway.
You're just going to idle around the bottom.
Exactly. And that way I'm ready for round 2. I think that's what the 22 car and Todd Gordon and Joey Logano are doing, because they're sitting there right now with less than 5 minutes to go.
And keep all the goodie on their tires.
Exactly. You have to make an attempt, but attempt doesn't mean you can't run around here in a minute and a half.
Yeah, and if you go back to last year, from the first round to the last round, I think they lost 2 or 3 tenths of speed in the lap time. So I think that'd be smart to save those tires as much as possible.
Well, in hindsight, other teams have noticed what Larry has noticed, and crew chief Rodney Childers had a little bit of Monday morning quarterback for his driver, Kevin Harvick.
Kind of mad at myself, Rodney. Why is that? Well, if we're going to have enough cars here, we could have run it easy, you know.
But instead, you have a new track record.
I think, yeah, at least you have that.
Yes. Yeah, we'll always have Paris, whatever that line is from.
Well, I think even with the lap on Kevin Hart, or 2 laps, if you look at that, it might still be okay. I think it's going to be tough.
Oh boy! So now we're going to have
the
the economy run of rolling around the bottom. It's still. I heard the commercial yesterday. There's a, I guess, Fast and Furious thrill ride here at Universal, and I got to go 120 miles an hour on a ride, and Mom said, and that was okay with me. You know, it was cool.
Yeah.
Or you could come here and. All right, David Reagan is going to go for it.
So is Joey Logano.
And so now we get to see how the minds of crew chiefs and drivers work.
Yes. Well, now in our discussions with NASCAR one day, we discussed this idea of cars not running in round 1, Larry, and being able to start the race on brand new tires, whether or not that was something that might be worthy of future consideration.
Well, in Cup Series director Richard Buck told me, said, if we continue to see a trend and a pattern, we will make changes. We will make adjustments. But now, if I'm going to run a really slow lap and I'm Joey Logano with under 3 minutes to go, I'm going to leave pit road and start my really slow lap.
Well, somebody forgot to tell that to David Reagan, because he all but wrecked down in 1 and 2 trying to put down a lap.
Hey, Larry, let me know when you make that rule.
Well, the logic behind it is pretty sound, that if you don't qualify, should you be able to start the race with an advantage over the cars who did?
That's the things that are, will be debated, I'm sure, if it comes to the push comes to shove. they got to make some kind of a adjustment here. Those are things they'll take into consideration.
Sure.
Guys, I do not understand this. I'm taking my headset off and I'm going to the garage here. This makes no sense.
Tell him, Larry.
Why are you running your race car hard?
Well, the only thing I can think of, Larry, is that they don't feel like the track's going to fall off as much as maybe what we think because of the cool track conditions.
11th for Kyle Busch. Jamie?
Well, I just checked in with the 22. I'm standing down here with them now, and they said they wanted to get a balance read. They want to know what to expect for the next round. So he's going for it and trying this first round.
But the balance is going to change from stickers to scuffs. It's going to change anyhow.
And chances are, Larry, to your point, it's probably never going to be better than it is right now.
Exactly, no matter what the balance is.
9th for Logano, 38.62.
I'll be looking at my balance sheet if I were them.
So now all 22 cars that are out on the line have posted a qualifying lap. It is too late for anybody else to drive out of the garage and make a lap. All 22 will advance. Larry, I don't recall how we
now, this is the one that's disappointed. I think pretty disappointed is Clint Bowyer. He was second fastest in practice and obviously had a very fast race car. I think he had a shot at winning the pole and maybe knocking Harvick from that top spot.
Now, these two cars right there, they have to hustle around just to get a lap started.
Yeah, about 37 seconds left.
Now, cars that do not qualify will be assigned starting positions based on car owner point standings coming into California.
Not sure I've ever experienced anything quite like this.
All right, Ricky Stenhouse going to make it and start his lap. 11, 10, 9, and so does Michael McDowell. So these laps will count.
And now if they were listening to Larry, they just shut it off.
and then we'll have our group of 24 for round 2.
You know, Michael McDowell, he went down in the corner there at 211 miles an hour.
Jeff, I wouldn't shut it off, but I'd be still running when they started round 2 to complete that lap.
Yes, that's
folks. Just think
good
about
point.
this. You are getting to see live in real time how crew chiefs and drivers think.
Obviously, I'm a minority, though.
Yeah, it's an imperfect process, but somehow it works. Stenhouse is 20th, and now McDowell is 20th. Mark Truex third behind Kyle Larson and Kevin Harvick. 24 drivers, all of those who attempted will advance to round 2. Here are the results of round 1. Kevin Harvick in a Ford, Kyle Larson Chevrolet, and Martin Truex in a Toyota are the top 3. Harvick, the new track record holder. And these drivers will also advance all the way down to Greg Galding, Jeffrey Earnhardt, and Reed Sorensen.
Kyle Larson broke the track record too, slightly.
Yep. Jamie.
Well, Alex Bowman in his 88 just started going through tech inspection for the 3rd time. So here you are. You don't get to qualify. What's the upside and maybe the downside to not getting to qualify?
Well, hopefully the upside is we'll get to pass a bunch of cars. The downside is I felt like we had a really good race car. We only made 1 qualifying run in practice, and we were 10th. So we had a good shot at qualifying really well, but everybody at Hendrick Motorsports works really hard. They're really smart, a lot of depth of knowledge. So we'll get our race trim stuff better, and we'll get our Nationwide Camaro ZL1 up front on Sunday.
All right, thanks.
That's got to be tough because you practice and everything you work toward is to get out there and see how fast you can go, and then you can't go.
Absolutely. They're competitors, you know, and every time they're on the racetrack, they want to push the car to the edge and get the best lap they possibly can, the best starting position in qualifying, see what kind of speed they have.
The debrief ought to be interesting.
I don't think there's going to be much of one.
That's why I say it ought to be real interesting. You go your way, I go mine.
Now, you might wonder why they're still in line going through inspection and qualifying. You know, once you're in that qualifying line, you can't just say, okay, I'm going to get out of line, I'm going to go back to my garage area. They're going to make these cars go through inspection, and quite honestly, I guess if I was one of these crew chiefs, I'd still want to go through, because I guess I want to see where I'm really at. You know, can I pass inspection this time?
But last week, the 78 car on the third attempt said, that's it, we're not going through again. So do you try once? Is there a limit, or is it try once and you don't make it? What's the number?
Well, yeah, these guys know now that unless a rule is changed between now and Sunday, DW, that they're going to be able to start the race on sticker tires. And we saw it with Martin Truex Jr. I think it was at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And, you know, what a difference that made when they dropped the green flag.
Well, it won't make such a difference here, because you're going to have a bunch of cars, 13 cars starting on sticker tires.
I want to be the first of those 13 cars.
Then you'd want to be Denny Hamlin, because that's who will start 25th.
I want to be Kevin Harvick.
Rodeo Drive and Hollywood. We're not there. We're off to the east. We're in Fontana. It's still part of scenic Southern California. Welcome back to Fontana, part of NASCAR Goes West, presented by Toyota. Follow at Toyota Racing for more content and more conversation around NASCAR Goes West, presented by Toyota. We were over there yesterday, Beverly Hills, the Fox Lot, Century City. So owner points will set the rest of the field from 25th on back. That puts Denny Hamlin and Clint Boyer in row 13. Almirola and Bowman, Byron and Suarez, Chase Elliott and Jimmy Johnson deep in the field, as none of the Hendrick cars get out for qualifying. Let's go to 27th place on that grid. Jamie.
Well, Eric Almirola, and you guys had a great run last weekend. You continued that today, top 5 in practice. I know the focus was qualifying, so how disappointing is this for you?
Very. Man, Fridays are just our Achilles heel right now. Vegas, we showed up and I was out of control and we weren't very fast, and I think we qualified 29th. And then last weekend we struggled a little bit in qualifying. So Fridays have just been not good for us. And then this weekend we really came here with a heavy focus on qualifying. Car was really fast right off the truck. We ended up third in practice, and I was really excited about qualifying. And then we didn't make it out to qualify. So disappointed, because our Smithfield Ford Fusion was really fast. But it is what it is. We'll get ready for the race now, and one of these days we're going to get Friday figured out, and it'll just make it a lot easier and cleaner weekend. But nonetheless, a lot of cars, I think, didn't make it through. So we're going to start 2 spots better than we did in Vegas, and we're going to start on sticker tires. So we have that to look forward to.
Well, and hey, you're coming off your first top 10 with your new team, so not a bad week.
On the other side of that coin, it's a career best start for Greg Galding and Jeffrey Earnhardt. And the track is open for round 2.
You think Harvick can better his?
It's good. I thought that they would hold back a little bit that first round, but I didn't think about the point of sitting or getting the track record. So he may have been pushing it to the limit. We're about to find out, though.
I think it'll be real close.
I'm pretty sure Joey Logano wasn't pushing it as hard as he could.
Paul Menard 4th in round 1.
Yeah, and the 4 car of Kevin Harvick, he was one of the first cars out there also, and so that car sat for quite a while, so the tires should be back down to a pretty nice cool temperature.
I think he'll go maybe just a skosh quicker.
Do you?
I wonder. Every car has 1 lap on their tires, so we start round 2 very equal.
But you know who is right there with Harvick? I mean, look at Larson. He's only 500s behind Harvick.
I'm going to be really curious to see, do all these cars run the top groove? We see that top groove get you the most momentum, make the track as long as possible coming to the green. But if you've got the grip, you want to run that bottom groove if you can down in 3 and 4. I think the middle, the top in 1 and 2 for sure. We saw Kyle Larson do that in round 1.
Yeah, he was on the bottom, which surprised me more people didn't try that.
So Logano is 1/100th faster. Paul Menard is almost half a second slower than he was in round 1. Jamie McMurray right on top of his first round time. And Martin Truex slower by 3/10.
Yeah. That's a bit
Ty
of a
Dillon
surprise.
slower by 1/10 than round 1. So everybody, I think, falling off as the newness is gone off the tire.
Yeah, it sure appears that way. I mean, that's not a big surprise that these cars would slow down. We know tires give up a little bit, so not a big surprise. But I was just curious to see if Harvick possibly had anything left.
Ryan Blaney. And Eric Jones on the right.
Riding on board with Kurt Busch. I just saw him 211 miles per hour into turn 1 for that lap. I love how you can see his hands working on that wheel.
Blaney the top 2/100ths faster than round 1.
He was back to the throttle so early in the middle of 3 and 4.
Kurt Busch picks up 17/100ths. He's quickest. And there's Harvick. Top of the chart. Even though he's 2/10 slower than round 1, he is fastest.
Yeah, he's still got a couple tenths in the bank right there.
No Hendrick cars in qualifying today. Matt.
Mike, I'm sitting by with Jeff Andrews, the Vice President of Competition at Hendrick Motorsports. Jeff, when you look at the problems for all 4 cars, similar or are they different for each car?
Yeah, no, Matt, they're all similar in the same area of the car. So, we've got to go back. We need to talk, obviously, internally and talk with NASCAR. We felt like we were making changes, obviously, in the area affected, and we were not seeing the results when we went back through. So,
a new process like this, especially with the OSS, and you're one of the teams that still does not have one. Could this be something related to that? Maybe not having that in the shop, or not related at all, do you feel?
I don't think it's related. We have equipment in the shop to scan our cars that we feel like is very accurate, and we've had good results with up until this point. So, this is obviously there was more than just our 4 cars, so we need to work with NASCAR on it. I know they don't want to see this either, and we have to figure out a solution going forward.
Right. Any area in particular that you can tell us you felt like that your cars had issues with the OSS?
It's related in the rear deck lid area. I'll just that's a general area where we were working on and making changes, and so.
Jeff Andrews, Vice President of Competition at HMS. Thank you for your time, sir.
Kyle Larson, boy, he had a close call there.
Yeah, we saw Brad Keselowski just rolling back to pit road, still down the apron, and that was the lane Kyle Larson wanted to run, just like in round 1.
Chris Buescher, 6th fastest. Nice lap for Buescher.
Here comes Larson into turn 3, getting to that apron, and look at Keselowski. I guarantee if that surprised anybody, it was definitely Keselowski.
That would be such a distraction at that speed, going off in a corner. There's a car I think where he almost right into the groove he wanted to be in. So I don't know that distracted him enough to mess up his time or not, but it definitely was something you wouldn't want him to be sitting there.
All right, bumping has begun. Ty Dillon has been bumped from the top dozen. That will move on to the final round.
And Mike, I think there are 2 guys that if you looked at 2 guys in the field and you'd say, what 2 guys would really like to be on the pole or on the front row here for this race this weekend? They're there now. I think Kevin Harvick, he wants to be the king of the West Coast. Larson he's the king of the 2 miles, 2-mile tracks.
Yep.
Those 2 guys make a lot of sense for them to be there.
All right, Austin Dillon, just 5/100ths off of his first round run, has bumped Jamie McMurray, so Paul Menard is on the bubble. Yeah, if there's going to be a shootout here in the West, it's going to be Harvick and Larson.
I agree. I think the interesting thing to me, though, is we talk about the new Camaro and how the teams are having trouble getting their arms around it. The 42 seems to be the exception. Their cars are fast. They've run very well all 4 races we've been to. And here he's on the front row today.
I would throw one other Kyle in the mix, and that would be this guy right here, Kyle Busch. He's finished second to Harvick the last couple races, so nobody's more motivated. This track is a good track for Kyle Busch, so don't count him out.
You know how good that guy is here? He can run second on 3 wheels. Remember last year?
And did.
And did, yeah. And I'll tell you how good he is also. He's won this race on the last lap by making a pass. He actually passed 2 cars in the last corner to win this race one time.
Keep an eye on David Reagan on the right. He nearly got in the wall on his first round run. Almost did it again there. And that number for Kyle Busch is going the wrong way. Now it's coming down. Gonna be close. Ooh. Kyle Busch, 38.41. That is 6/100ths off Harvick, and it is 4/10ths faster than round 1.
Kyle Busch is one of those guys that, hey, you think you're good? Watch this.
So that
I got a little something for you.
Now he went 4/10ths faster in round 2 as he went in round 1. So obviously he was just putting a lap in on the tires and getting a little bit of a balance read in round 1.
Matt DiBenedetto 2/10ths slower than round 1. Trevor Bayne clocks in 13th, about 8/100ths slower. Paul Menard's been bumped, and helmet off, looks like, yep, climbing out. So Brad Keselowski is the bubble car right now.
Well, and you also have to contemplate laps on your tires. You know, if you go out, can you advance far enough for it to be enough of an advantage of where you're going to start this race or your pit road location choice to put an extra lap on the tires? You know, I think that at this point, there's probably a lot of them saying, you know what, I'd rather have less laps on the tires.
And if you look at drivers in the back of this top 24, I think a bunch of them are just not going to make a run.
Mike, I think you're right. I think possibly the 43 car of Darrell Wallace Jr. might be one of those cars, because you have to be rolling in about the next 30 seconds.
Yeah, and don't forget, they know they've got 13 cars on stickers starting behind them that didn't even make a qualifying attempt.
All these guys that are on the board right now, they only got 2 laps on their tires, so they're going to end up with 3 laps on their tires when qualifying. So now that doesn't count getting up to speed laps.
I love these shots down the back straightaway as they go through that rough, bumpy section. The sparks flying. You can see the tire sidewall flexing.
You know what I like? Some of the cars go straight up and down, bam, bam, bam. Others kind of porpoise, front to back, front to back. It just depends on your package, I guess, but not every car goes through there the same.
A lot of different theories on engineers and how they want to set these cars up and in which corner of the car, front to rear, how they want to spring and shock and stop the car from moving and get it down on the racetrack like you see right there.
Ricky Stenhouse 3.5/10ths faster than his first run, but he will not advance. He's 16th. Keselowski hanging on to the bubble.
Last week we said it was wheel hopping.
See if he can bump Brad Keselowski.
If it wheel hops this week, it's not going to have anything to do with the brakes.
No.
Bubba Wallace falls off 0.4 of a second. And looks like Gray Galding will be our final driver to log a lap in round 2. And he will start 20th.
Can anybody get anywhere close to this guy?
Not so far.
I want to be that guy.
Locked in positions 13 through 24. Note that the last 4 chose not to make a qualifying pass in round number 2. And these are the drivers that did not clear inspection. And there was plenty of time since practice to get cars prepared and go through inspection at least twice and come out to make a lap, but did not happen for those 13 cars. Matt?
Mike, Jamie McMurray will roll off 15th on Sunday. 2 laps in the books. The reward not worth the risk of trying another attempt to move on?
Yeah, our McDonald's Chevy was tight in practice and then too loose in qualifying, and you have absolutely zero chance of going faster on another run. If you can sit here and cool your tires down, you maybe have a chance, but to run back out in just 2 or 3 minutes, it's just not going to happen.
Still been a good place for him, Jamie. 3 top 10s in the last 4 races here at Auto Club Speedway.
Well, Bubba Wallace will start 19th on Sunday. First time qualifying a Cup car. You had a big smile on your face. Did you leave it all out there?
Felt like I did. I suck at this qualifying thing. I've never been the best, but what I always tell myself is what my mom always tells me. Not where you start, it's where you finish. Yeah. Thanks, Mom. I don't know. I thought I put it up out there, but I guess not. But our Farmer John Chevrolet, it looks good. I feel like it drives pretty good, which is that's the biggest thing. So we'll get it tuned in for tomorrow. But man, I can't figure it out, Jamie. I can't figure it out. And now I get a bunch of tweets saying, "I keep your head up" and all this stuff. I got it. I'm good. I got it. I'm just competitive as hell. So we'll figure it out. But all in all, it's good to be here in California. I love this place. So tomorrow's what really matters. Get our car dialed in for the race on Sunday. Get that Farmer John Chevrolet up there and have some fun.
Well, things started a little slow. You showed up late. Your team's standing around looking. They didn't know where you were. What happened?
What's that saying? The party don't start till I walk in. Peace. I'm out.
It actually was his PR guy. Took him to the wrong end of pit road.
Oh, if he was holding the mic, it would have been a mic drop moment, wouldn't it?
Oh, my gosh.
So 12 drivers will run for the pole 8 times. 1 driver has swept all 3 rounds of qualifying. Half of those 8 times, that one driver was Kevin Harvick. Round 3 coming right up. Now, that's not that brown LA haze they sing about. That is some very dark clouds over everybody right now except Kevin Harvick. Here are the drivers who have swept all 3 rounds of qualifying. Kevin's done it 4 times, and he swept the first 2 rounds today. Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano twice, and Kyle Busch. Round 3 begins in 5 seconds. Time to get out the broom.
You know, Kevin Harvick's got this qualifying thing figured out. I mean, these guys not only swept those first 2 rounds, pretty good chance they might get number 3 here.
But oh, by the way, of all those drivers you just saw who swept all 3 rounds of qualifying, none of them won the race.
Ooh.
Wow. Well, that record's going to get broken.
I was going to say, Kevin Harvick's breaking a lot of records already this year. He might break that one too.
Yeah, that'll be another one.
I think Kevin Harvick came out west and wanted to make a big, bold statement, and so far, so good.
So here we go. Round 3 of knockout qualifying. Hold nothing back.
Mike, you know you're feeling good when you're willing to go somewhere and race on a Thursday night to help some of your buddies out. You're having the time of your life.
.208 into turn 1 for Joey Logano.
Yeah, this is that round where things get pretty challenging. You now have had 2 runs on your tires. The balance is shifting and changing a little bit. You see the front end slide up the racetrack. I think Kurt Busch got into turn 1 maybe a little bit with too much speed, and he drifted up the racetrack. Hard to hold that line. Talked about being line specific. You see Joey Logano trying to straddle that seam and get as much speed off of turn 4 to the line.
And then run her downhill as much as you can to the start-finish line. You pick up a little bit doing that.
And then you heard Kurt Busch on the left trying to get back wide open as soon as he could in the middle of 3 and 4.
38.79 for Logano, 38.88 for Busch.
I think he's going to be pretty disappointed with that. And I saw where that car really slid up the racetrack at turn 1, and he had to hesitate for quite a while before he could get back in the throttle. And that's the thing about having this knockout qualifying going round to round. Every time you put heat in those tires and build up the air pressure, the grip level changes and the balance changes from front to rear, and the grip level that you have. And that's where you've got to tune the communication, anticipation of what it's going to do. And that's where you got to be so impressed with what Kevin Harvick does on qualifying day.
Now, for both drivers that have run so far, round 3 was their slowest run of the day. Previously, the track record was Denny Hamlin but it was not set in the final round. It was set early in the session.
And right now, you saw Kevin Harvick sat on pit road. He's accelerating down the back straightaway, and he's asking, what kind of lap time did Joey Logano run? What kind of lap time did Kurt Busch run? And comparing it from round 2 to round 3. That tells him how much grip there is out there in the track and how hard he can push.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. He waited to see if anybody was going to put up anything exceptional, and they didn't.
Hey, how about Chris Buescher? Nice to see him in the final round.
Good little wheel man. He gets the job done. I like watching his style.
There's Buescher on the left.
Ooh, little wiggle there from Kevin Harvick off of turn 2. Nice lap by Truex.
Ooh, that's not bad by Truex.
Well, 38.59. That is not Martin Truex's slowest lap of the day.
Oh, that's pretty good. I don't think Harvick's going to beat that.
I think he heard what we were talking about not winning. He wants to win on Sunday, not today.
That wiggle off turn 2, I think, really took a little speed out of that car. It's going to be close.
Right on the seam.
Fourth, 39.03.
I talked about the seams. Lost some speed. Those seams will definitely take the grip away if you're not straddling them or above them or below them.
Logano 39.05 compared to Truex at 38.59 is fastest.
Let's take a whole lap here with Erik Jones.
Hang on.
Boy, I thought that looked really good through 1 and 2. The car was turning good. He was back to the gas really early. Very little movement in the steering wheel on the exit.
Floated it in there.
Nice line.
Yeah, it really floated in there nice.
Might miss it by just a little bit, but I think he's going to be really happy with this lap.
Second for Erik Jones, 38.70. Almost equaled his round 2 time.
I was so impressed how smooth he was on that lap.
Yeah, I was too, Jeff. Very smooth.
Ryan Blaney, 5th, 38.90.
Well, let's see what this young man has. The 18's out.
Kyle Busch lost a little bit of speed off of turn 2. We saw he was in the green getting to the middle 1 and 2. See if he can gain that speed back here in 3 and 4. Right behind him, Larson was green for a split second.
Oh, he got a little loose right there, but he's still in it. This could be pretty good.
Man, this is close.
Yeehaw! That might have done it right there.
Second by 0.02 of a second.
Larson also really close. Everybody losing a little bit of speed, it looks like, in the middle 1 and 2 or to the exit of 2.
So 38.59, Martin Truex Jr. 38.61, Kyle Busch. 38.68, Kyle Larson. 38.70, Erik Jones. 17th career pole for Truex and second of the season. Your defending series champion, Martin Truex Jr. wins the pole in California. Truex Jr. second straight pole. Kyle Busch is second again. Be an all Toyota front row come Sunday. Let's hear from the pole winner.
Back-to-back poles. Who are you?
What are you talking about?
Martin Truex Jr. back-to-back poles.
Yeah, first time ever. It's that's definitely pretty cool. Really, just proud of everybody. You know, this 5-hour Bass Pro Toyota has been awesome all day long, and you know, we tried to stay on scuffs that first practice and ran our best lap on scuffs this morning. So thought that played into our hands a little bit here qualifying. Round 2, I got the seam a little bit and lost some time, and that bit me. But luckily, third round was able to put a lap together, and I wouldn't say it was perfect, but it was a pretty solid lap. And just happy with everybody at the team. And I was out visiting the guys at TRD this week at Builder Engines, so thanks to them for all the great horsepower. Obviously, it takes a lot to get around here. So. Yeah, it's been a fun week and a great way to cap off the day, and looking forward to getting to work tomorrow on this thing for race trim.
You mentioned the seams, and that's what bit Harvick. How treacherous really is it out there navigating those seams?
You know, you're on such an edge. You gotta try to stay off those seams as much as you can, but you got to carry enough speed to go really fast, and you know, you just miss it by a few inches sometimes, like I did in round 2, and you know, you get on those seams and you just have to let off the gas and slow down because it just takes off on you. So. It's definitely tricky. Luckily, we were able to get it right in the third round when it really counted.
TRD on the front row at their home racetrack. Jamie?
And for the second time this year, Kyle Busch will start on the front row. Last week you were second, this week second. I know you don't like to start there or finish there, Kyle, but do you feel like you got everything out of that last lap?
No, I definitely screwed up turn 3. I thought everything else about the lap was pretty good. Entry to 1, middle of 1 and 2, that was all she wrote, all she could get right there. But turn 3 just kind of messed up a little bit, and tried to get all of it made back up on exit. But with the amount of time that I had in the gas on exit, I was still, too easy missing the exit with the amount of speed we were carrying. So we just needed more overall roll speed through that corner. So missed it a little bit there, but couldn't be happier with our team and our guys and our race cars and everybody at Joe Gibbs Racing and Toyota TRD, Costa Mesa being right down the road here. So it's always good to come out here and especially sweep the front row for those guys and have Eric there in fourth. So means a lot figuratively, and we need to be able to go out there and put it all together when it comes down to the line on Sunday.
It's fun to always hear the drivers talk about racing here, and they look forward to it because you guys can do so many different things at this track. But you have a different left side tire this time, kind of looking forward and foreshadowing Sunday. What do you expect?
I don't know. I don't feel a whole lot of difference yet. I don't think you will in single car runs. That's all we did today. You may in the longer runs and race trim stuff tomorrow and kind of feeling what that fall off's going to be like. With that other tire that we had, we just kept taking so much air out of it because it was just so hard that the air buildup was just making it too harsh when you got over the bumps in the long haul, that maybe this one you don't have to be as aggressive on the front side of it. So, everybody's going to play those games and kind of figure out where that limit is, and we'll see if anybody wants to tread those waters early in practice tomorrow and figure out what that number is going to be for the rest of the field.
Kyle Busch, the West Coaster, starting second, a 3-time winner here, Mike.
Well, here's the one stat that 11 drivers are going to be looking at. Only one driver in round 3 ran faster than he did at round 2. You were looking at him. To Fontana, California, going to break. We mentioned Martin Truex Jr. was the only driver to go faster in round 3 than round 2. Kevin Harvick had the biggest fall off from round 2 to the final round. Here's a look at his lap.
Well, I think we know why. I think he got to 3 and 4 coming to the green right here, but as much as he enters turn 1, look at these seams. Got to be real precise on how you cross over them. He couldn't quite get below that seam. Those left sides got stuck on it. You can see that big wiggle in the middle of the corner, but I think that started with a bit of a push early as he got the left front on the seam, and then that brought the back end of the car around on the exit.
And he knew it, Mike. When you got to burp the throttle like that, it just kills your momentum and kills your lap, and of course you end up 10th quick.
Rodney Childers saying, yeah, I saw it. Saw what, Matt?
We were in trouble there after the second one. But
Well, you saw the lap by Kevin Harvick. You lived it, and we were talking about just how treacherous the seams are, but you also mentioned going from round 2 to round 3. You had some expectations about what you might feel.
Well, we don't talk about it much, but in practice we were just fighting. Sticker tires were really fast for us, and then as we would run every round, it would just get tighter. So we made some good adjustments. In practice, we did, I think, fell off 6 or 7 tenths from the sticker run to the second run, and we made that only 2 tenths in qualifying today, and then it was just another step, and the seam obviously made it worse. It wouldn't have been as bad if I wouldn't have got it up on the seam, but they did a good job with our Busch Ford. That's kind of been a little bit of some stuff that we've been fighting here at this particular racetrack with just the tightness as you go through the round, but I was really tight at the 3/4 mark, and I was trying to keep as much throttle on it as I could and as much rolling speed on as you could, and I got that left rear hung on the seam and kind of tracked it all the way around there, and then the back stepped out, and at that point you're in big trouble. So turn 2 has been our strong point, and then I didn't carry any speed off the corner, down the back straightaway, no speed through 3 and 4, but still a good race car. Just got to do all we can tomorrow and see what happens.
Chasing history, going for 4 in a row, when you're on this type of run, the momentum that you've got on your shoulders, do you feel more pressure to pull it off, or do you feel like in a way it's almost easier in a way like you're Superman, where it's expected when you show up that you guys are going to have a good day?
Well, we expected to show up and have a good day at this particular point. I think when you look at the momentum and the confidence that everybody has in really everything that we're doing right now, it just keeps building, and you keep feeding off of that momentum. So, I think as you look at everything that we've been able to accomplish, and heck, I drive a race car for a living, so we're living on borrowed time anyway.
right, thanks, Kevin. Jamie?
And Austin Dillon qualified 5th, his best effort this year. You had the pole here a couple years ago, so when you come back to a track that you've had the pole, are your expectations automatically a little bit higher?
I think they are. You're just comfortable at that place. You know, you've done it before, so you got a feel that you want in the car. And our Kill Chevy was pretty solid today. We were in the top 10 in practice, and we come out here and we get a 5th. So it's a great starting position, and hopefully we can capitalize with that on Sunday.
You had a busy week. You've been out in LA, you've been at the Fox Lot, you were on Race Hub and UFC tonight. What was that like?
Well, it's fun. You know, I try and maximize our time out here on the West Coast. I stay out on all 3 weeks, and we had a busy schedule at Fox. They really took care of me, and the UFC guys are fun. I think we're going to get some of them out here on Sunday, so it's always a good when you can kind of go to different sports and communicate with them and see what their life's like. So I love NASCAR, though. I know that.
Well, it's pretty cool to get to go back to the Fox Lot and say, yeah, I'm the Daytona 500 winner.
It feels really good.
Austin Dillon will roll off 5th. There's your Busch Pole winner, Martin Truex Jr.